What's going on, everybody? This is Tyler bringing you a brand new video of my life, your entertainment. Thank you guys again for tuning in for another video. If you guys are excited for another upload, smack that thumbs up button, subscribe if you guys are new. Do not forget to do that before you go any further in this video. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so today's video is going to be about the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. I know a lot of you guys have been wondering what's going on with the Hyundai, what are you doing, what are your plans? So before I get into any sort of changes or modifications to the car, visually, performance, anything like that, I've been wanting to drive this car daily as my daily driver and figure out if there's anything that needs to be fixed or repaired on the car. And unfortunately, I did run into my first issue. Thankfully though, very, very minor issue. I did notice that the car was leaking oil. After doing some research, reading on the forums, and looking at where the leak was coming from, we were able to figure it out. Shout out to my dad. I know you guys have seen him on the channel before. He went ahead and pulled the car apart the other day, found where the leak is. I just went over to Hyundai, Checkered Flag Hyundai here in Virginia Beach. They had the part that I need. It's the turbo oil line, or the turbo oil pipe. So I went ahead and just picked that up. It was only 47 bucks plus tax, so it was like 50 bucks on the dot almost. And we're gonna be heading over to my dad's to install that later and get that fixed. So I will bring you guys along and show you the process. All right, guys, so I'm here with my dad.
Hi.
And we are working on the Genesis. So like I told you guys earlier, we are gonna be replacing the oil feed line to the turbo. I've seen a lot of people commenting on Facebook, letting me know that this is a pretty common issue. When I called the parts department, they had a ton of them in stock. They said it was a very, very common thing. This car has about 98,000 miles on it. So I don't know, looking at it, would you say it's probably the original one?
Yeah.
So I've had a couple people tell me that at about 70,000 miles, they've replaced theirs, some at 80,000. So it sounds like it's lasted a pretty good amount of time. So we're gonna go ahead and change that today. We're gonna go ahead and show you guys the process, what we're gonna do to take all the parts apart that we need to get to it. I do know that there's a couple of different ways to do this. My dad actually has been working on the car the last couple of days, so he's pretty much become an expert at pulling this stuff apart. There's a couple different ways we can do it, but we have an idea of how we want to try it today, so I'm going to show you guys that.
So first thing we're going to do is take the line off of the filter, just so we can get this out. It makes it a lot easier if you take that loose, of course. And
we're going to have to replace that one day. Get a cold air intake on there.
I should have this memorized, but I know it's one of these. Nope. Third time's a charm.
What
So
size
it's
is that?
10 millimeter.
You know, the elusive one that no one can ever find. The biggest meme in the car world.
So the biggest reason why I'm doing this is just to give us room to get in here and get to everything and not scratch yourselves all to pieces. So there's only 3 bolts in here to get this out. They're pretty easy. And these are nice and loose because they've been off a few times. And then right down here, this is where it ties into the air intake. So you'll see that just kind of pops out like that. Right there. And then the other thing that I've been doing, which I find helps a lot just so I can see better, is right down here. You'll see that nut right there. You want to take that loose, which will take this loose, so you can just pull it off and get it out of your way. And then the other thing we want to do is take this clamp loose and pull that off, and then just give this a couple of turns and it pops right out. And that's what we were taking loose right there.
It's too bad I didn't have a cold air intake already. We could be replacing it right now.
It's true.
You basically just did that.
The next thing I did,
so much room in here.
The next thing I've been doing is pulling this clamp loose. Again, just to make more room and get it out of the way. And because it's easy.
So why not?
So I can pull that down and just kind of push it down like that if I want. But what we're going to do in addition to that, just again to make more room, is unscrew these. You just unscrew them a little bit and they pop right out.
Be very careful when you do these so you don't break them.
Yep.
Or lose them.
Or lose them. And when you do that, this all comes out, gets out of your way. And the last thing I'm going to do that I didn't do before, but I'm thinking might give me just a little extra room, is I'm going to pull this bolt out. And I'm going to do that just so I can lift this one out of the way. And now, with all that done and this hose kind of pushed out of the way, you can see there's the top of our line right there where the oil's leaking. So that's what we're going to be pulling out, is that banjo bolt that's right down there. And don't laugh at our bush fix. Duct tape. But it worked.
That was perfect. And you're wearing a duck shirt.
Yes. So the next thing is, we didn't drain the oil because from what we've seen on other videos, not that much oil comes out, so I hope I'm right on that. But we did put a pan down there to catch it just in case. All we're going to do is take a 17 millimeter, nothing special. We're just going to put that on there and take it loose. And thankfully it's not that tight. Now, the one thing I did notice,
Yeah, there's the leak right there.
that a lot of people were talking about,
It's dripping.
that I wanted to show you down here. If you look, let me see if I can point to it. Right there, you notice there's a little washer type thing. I think they call it a crush washer. And there's one on the inside. You want to make sure you don't lose those, because we will have to reuse them. So I'm just going to work that loose and hopefully not drop the washer. There's one, see, it's still on there, on the end of that nut. Put that there.
And if you guys don't have these little magnet trays or magnet lights, these things are so awesome.
And if you look down in there, the other one is still kind of stuck to it. You can see it there. I'm just going to leave that there. I don't see any need in prying it off. Now, the next thing that we've got that one loose, this is the next bolt that we're pulling off right here. And that also should be a 17 millimeter. I'm going to use a socket for that because it'll be easier. And as always, if you have a long extension, I highly recommend it.
I feel like that's going to be a dirty joke in the comment section.
And once again, with this, we are going to need to be careful about the bolt and those washers. And there's the part, and there's the washer there on the one side, and the one on the other side. So that's what we're looking for, to make sure we don't lose and we reinstall. And thankfully this one was stuck. So another thing to note.
Let's show the part number real quick.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys have this issue, there's the part number that you will need. And pretty much any Hyundai dealership, from what I was told, is going to probably have those in stock. You can also order them online at a lot of parts stores. But if you're in need quickly, like we were, you can get that from your local dealership. And I paid about $47 for mine plus tax.
The other thing I would suggest is make sure you clean this hole off. Get it nice and clean like that. You don't want any gunk down there. And looking at the new one, one of the things that you'll notice is this is longer than this. So that's how you know this is the top and this is the bottom. And you're just going to have a little bit of bend in it to line it up. So all you really need to do is just thread it back down as you're ready, that you had it like that. And then what we're going to do is put the top on first. We have to push that in. And I'm going to have to block it while I'm putting it in, but I'm just taking my finger and holding it in place to get it lined up. And then once you have it lined up, should be able to snug it a little bit. Just get it started like that. And then you can grab your socket, of course, and tighten it down. And then, this is going to be hard to see. I'm going to take the other end. So we'll just need to make sure you get it in the right spot. Otherwise it won't reach. And then you can see how it's going to line up down here. You put the bolt in, and then just start to tighten it up. And in case you're wondering, this is called a banjo bolt, and this bolt actually has a hole in it, and that's how the oil gets through it. So now if you look at the finished product, so you can see where the new line comes down, it bends, Comes down to here. Goes around. And something I've noticed is there's definitely one difference I notice here is the old one was sitting on top of this one and kind of hitting this line right here. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that's part of the reason why they had a problem with it. Because this was putting pressure right here on the line. My suggestion, as always, is before you totally put it back together, you'll want to start the car and let it run for a few minutes just to be sure that none of the oil is leaking out and you've got everything tightened up right. So we're going to do that before we put it back together. All right. So checking out the top and the bottom.
Nothing's coming out because that's where it was leaking from right there.
Yeah, I think we're good. Now all we got to do is put it back together.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully this helps any of you guys out that have this issue. If you guys have any questions about what we did, any, how I got the part, anything, any questions that you have, just leave it in the comment section below. I'll make sure to address any questions that you guys have. Big shout out to my dad. Thank you for helping as always. And loving being on camera with us. He's a goofball. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you guys are new, and we're out.